One of the first things that we always look at in a motorcycle case, and really in all auto accident cases, but in motorcycle cases it's particularly important, is the amount of insurance coverage that's available. And so the first thing that we do when any client comes into the office is that we ask them to bring us a copy of their declarations page. What kind of auto coverage do you have? And that's counterintuitive to almost everybody, because the assumption is, well, the other guy is going to have coverage and his insurance coverage is going to pay for my injuries. And I'm here to tell you that's not always the case, because the other guy's coverage might have lapsed. He might have forgotten to pay his premium. He might have had really bad coverage. He might only have a $25,000 liability limit for an injury. And so we want to make sure that we know the worst case scenario, right? If he doesn't have any coverage at all, how much coverage do you have? And in a motorcycle case, there's a number of places that we would want to look for that. We would look at motorcycle policy. Most insurance carriers in Virginia will not insure your motorcycle on your regular auto policy. And so you will have a separate motorcycle policy. The good news for you is that if you also have an auto policy, your underinsured coverage will stack across those policies. Meaning, if you have say a $50,000 motorcycle bodily injury liability or underinsured limit, that will add on top of your $100,000 or $200,000 auto policy limit to give you $150,000 or $250,000 in coverage. And so it's important that you go to a lawyer who knows his way around an auto accident case so that he knows where to find all the pieces of coverage. Another place that we might look is if there's somebody else in your house who's got an auto policy who is related to you and who you live with. If you're in one of these intergenerational families where you have a grandparent living at home, your grandparent's policy might stack on top of your motorcycle and on your auto liability policy. And the reason that that's important in a motorcycle case is that the sad reality is there are not very many small motorcycle injuries. If you're in a motorcycle crash and you're hurt, chances are you're going to be pretty banged up and maybe catastrophically injured. And it's important from day one for us to understand and for you to understand how much insurance coverage you have. So that's one of the first things that we will always look for. The thing that we're going to talk about today is Virginia-centric. We're going to talk about all of the Virginia rules. And so if you're in a crash in a different state, this really is not for you, because every state has its own little funky rules. And we're going to tell you something that's wrong if you're in Maryland or North Carolina or Pennsylvania.